So I thought about some of the ataxia webinars that we've had in the last couple of weeks and how we're talking about proprioceptive input and weight bearing and how could you structure your session if your goal is ADLs or fine motor coordination, but maybe you do some weight bearing or heavy lift type of tasks before you do your ADLs and fine motor coordination. If you had a 60-minute session, maybe the first half is spent doing push-ups and planks and whatnot, because historically it's a lot harder to get weight bearing through the upper extremities than it is the lower extremities, as we know. So these are some ideas: push-ups, planks, quadruped, crawling, downward dog, heavy resistance. I've used like a upper extremity bike and just crank the resistance up, 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 and have them push against that for some proprioceptive input. Heavy lifts. When I say heavy, I mean like 20 pounds plus at least, and pushing and pulling like sleds. So ways to get the upper extremity some really good weight bearing, and maybe you prep them before you go and do some of those fine motor tasks. Then some other postural adjustments, like we saw in those pictures, leaning against a table or a wall. So if they're leaning up against the sink or they have one arm propped on the sink to give them, maybe they're leaning and they have one arm propped while they're brushing their teeth, so they have some support, and they have an abdominal binder on, so they really get some support. Keeping their arms close to the trunk, so if their adductors are weak, maybe you add that to your strengthening regimen. Single arm prop versus having both bilateral arms free. Sitting versus standing, supported versus unsupported, all of those type of things. These were some core interventions from the webinar on March 4th. So these are some other great ideas that you can use as a prep before you're doing fine motor coordination and or dexterity type of tasks. They have interventions for lower level core, higher level core, and I thought these were great. So I just did a screenshot to put them in here. And if you haven't watched that one already, go back and take a look at it, because there was a lot of great information in there. But those are some really good ideas for how to engage the core, get that postural stability, get that core engaged before we're working on some more distal mobility, fine motor type of tasks. That could be a good prep for your session as well to structure.